Welcome back to Scars from the Playground. Gene Deal speaks on not being involved in the Sean Combs The Reckoning docuseries on Netflix. Executive produced by 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson himself. Let's get into the content, fam. Drop it in the comments.
And I figured that after this 50 documentary, you'll be giving me a call. Told you I ain't turning down nothing but my collar when it comes to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had to bring you back. This documentary got everyone talking, man. A lot of people want to know why you wasn't in it, man.
Well, first and foremost, you know, I thought I was going to be in the documentary at first until I started talking to that director. I think her name is Stapleton, I don't know her name. The white chick, I don't know, man. Me and 50 talked like 45 minutes. The producers had been calling me and everything. So this one night, 50 called me up and, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that I was going to, have Kirk and Tim. Kirk would be the one who talk about the business part of it. Tim would be the one who talk about the growing up phase with Diddy and everything and over there working in the record industry with him and stuff like that. They was like family. And I was gonna talk about, the street stuff, what was going on with Bad Boy, with the security, with Wolf, with the city college, with the time that I knew about when I was with him up until about early 2004 or something like that. But basically the streets and then the traveling with him and the atmosphere and everything, and then go back into the Notorious Big stuff with the Tupac and the whole 9 years, all the stuff that I knew. You know what I'm saying? So we was talking, and he sounded like, yo, listen here, they gonna spare no expense with this whole documentary. So I said, all right, cool. So what I did was I spoke to Tim and I spoke to Kirk Burrows. And I was like, yo, because I had Tim number. Tim didn't know how to get in touch with Kirk. Kirk didn't know how to get in touch with Tim. But Kirk was trying to tell me, give him the number with the Tim. I said, nah, I ain't doing that. So I gave one of the producers the number in the whole 9 yards to get in touch with Tim because I want to see him get money because I know Tim got a hell of a story with Puff. So then I talked to Tim and I told him, yo, listen here, man, we should go in as a package deal. All three of us, we could tell a hell of a story about this whole documentary. You know what I'm saying? From front to start. Then whatever stuff that they get and everything like that. So yo, let's go in there and ask them for 50 apiece. You know what I'm saying? So Tim was like with it, yo, Gene, whatever, go ahead like that. Kirk was like, yeah, okay, cool, Gene. It was like a general census that we was gonna do this in a whole package deal. You know what I'm saying? And then I started speaking to the producers and everything like that, because 50 had told me himself that they was going to spare no cost in doing this because he wanted to tell the story and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man, because it don't even sound, I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, you know, she was saying to me that um, what I was asking for was crazy, and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You know, you could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff. The first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another, and I was like, yeah, all right, well then, F you, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and go out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if I do it. So it went back and forth, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit, and then they had Kirk Burrows giving me calls and everything like that. What are you calling me for? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Get out of here. I know what kind of dude you is anyway. Me and you cool and everything, Kirk, but don't call me about no business with this stuff like that. And then what I found out is that he was making a deal, cutting a deal for himself as well as Tim. You understand? And I was trying to get a deal for all three of us. You understand? So that's how them industry cats go. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it like this. So then he called me back again, and I told him, like, listen, man, don't you ever call my phone again, Kurt. You know what I'm saying? Because we had got into it about somebody calling him. He told me Groovy Lou called him and wanted to know why Gene's still doing this to Puff and everything like that. And I mentioned it on the Gene Deal show. You understand? I said something. Then he called me back like I was lying. And listen to me, Kurt. Don't call me about what these clowns and these niggas say right here, bro. And especially don't call me talking about what I gotta fix. When in fact, you know what you told me and you know what our conversation was. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing about why I'm not in the thing, the lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me. And then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I seen of myself. Some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places and you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're gonna get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bruh, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more. So I ain't in the documentary because that lady that was the director, I think, what's her name? Alex, Alex State. You know her name, Mighty? Yo, Mighty, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look this up, all right? Okay. Her name is Alex Stapleton. The director that I spoke to was Alex Stapleton. She was the one who told me that she was the director, she was the producer, whatever, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. And she was talking mad greasy to me. And listen here, it's no matter after you talk that kind of talk to me, it's no amount of money she could have paid me anyway for me to get in there. My story is more too valuable, getting in the depth or getting in depth with this whole stuff. And it would have helped that documentary a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? In actually, they used all the stuff that I told them and did it the way that I was saying do it. Tim Dog started off with the childhood with Puff and the whole 9 yards. Kirk Burrows do the business part, but they was trying to put people in there like Mark Curry, and other people to talk about the streets or what was going on, a certain thing. But Mark can only say so much, you know what I'm saying, because he was an artist, so he wasn't with Puff like I was with him during that time when we was running back and forth here and there and the whole 9 yards. So, Miss Alex Stapleton is the one reason why I'm not in the documentary, but it's all right with me. I've been in a lot of documentaries. I did The Shine. I did the A&E. I did the Discovery Channel. I did the Fox. I've been in a whole lot of different documentaries, and I'm always on the art of dialogue. So the people been getting most of the information from here.
Yeah, man, you always on here, man. Always got to bring you on. So, with that being said, man, I want to get right into the documentary, man. How you feel about the documentary, man? The behind the scenes footage they got of Diddy leading up to him getting arrested, and how you feel about all that, man?
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was going to do something and they're going to say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning, and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big, it wasn't only Tupac. You understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in, you got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from Bad Boy from its conception is doing security and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got to Clyde Davis. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't able to tell that story because they didn't have no intel on that story or what went down, or they didn't do their investigations right, which he also led up to the reason why Wolf ain't here today. You understand? They didn't tell that story. They didn't tell a story about Jessica Rosenbaum, who was at the City College situation. You understand? It was Puff, Heavy D, and Jessica. You know what I'm saying? Jessica was the reason why those kids lost their life because she locked the door on those kids running down the steps. You understand? You could see her name in a news article, but they didn't mention nothing about her taking place. But they try to put Heavy D, God bless the dead, out there, and they put Puff out there. You know what I'm saying? She should have been the main one because she is the one who locked the door on the kids. You understand? She is the one who locked the door on the kids, and all those kids lost their life. Had she not locked those doors, not one kid would have lost their life. Not one kid would have lost their life. And that's what happened. So the feelings that I have about the documentary, man, it was just old news. And they took a couple of with the footage from Puff from the days that's leading up him to get arrested, and the incidents with the people from the courts. You know, the two people from the courts. So it was nothing new. It was put together pretty good, but it was nothing new that we didn't know. It is nothing new that we didn't know, bro. And they could have did a whole lot better. They could have got into the fact if they was talking about they wasn't going to, they was going to spend some money on it and stuff like that. They could have got into the fact of who actually made that payment because they put it all in the documentary. Who made that payment to get Tupac eliminated? If that was the payment that they had alluded to. So, liking the documentary, it's all right, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you watch it once, it don't get no second look. It don't get no second take. It ain't nothing like say, yo, I gotta go see that shit again. Nah, not at all. So, let me be clear on this, brother, is that I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rockwilders. You understand? We had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there. I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. It was a crazy sight. So I was there, man. So I knew more than they would put down there in that documentary. You know what I'm saying? You even see me when Puff is standing up right there. You see me down there, uh, trying to do CPR on somebody, and that was a 17-year-old kid that died, bro.
Look, it was a hell of a documentary, a docuseries. It was a hell of a docuseries, but it wasn't nothing we ain't seen. Gene Deal is correct, bro. How are you gonna do a full docuseries and not include the main that has popped this shit all the way off? You know what I mean? That man been talking about Diddy for about 10, 15 years. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real, fam. It's Gene Deal or nobody. You know what I mean? The man tried to do a package deal. They didn't want him. Why? They didn't want nothing that was going to make it look too real. They wanted everybody attached to this situation to have fabricated ass stories. They wasn't looking for the truth. They was looking to try to sell that docu-series. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. And for everybody that thought this was 50's doing, bro, when you executive produce something, you're not the creative director. You're not directing this motherfucker. You're just invited into the writer's room. And if you have an idea, they may or may not use it. It's not your situation, fam. It's not your project. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real, fam. It makes sense. 50 was just a face. He had no power, no pull. He wanted Gene Deal in it. But look here, the director, whatever her name is, Jessica, she didn't want him included. You know what I mean? She didn't want him included. For what purpose? Who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe Gene Deal said something about 50 in the past. Bro, you never know. Behind the scenes, there's always some extra shit. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. 50, boo-boo, very emotional, fool. Very emotional over old Daphne Joy, his BM. But look, your BM say you was sexually assaulting her too, nigga. You know what I mean? It's just, come on, nigga, on top of it, as allegations. But if the allegations are true, you are no better than Diddy, the dealer. Look, y'all all are one and the same. Man, what y'all gotta understand, bro? It's no difference when you're dealing with the commercial hip-hop industry, bro. They all are not to be trusted. You know, yeah. Ja Rule been talking the truth on 50 for years, and nobody wanted to listen. Why? He overpowered him. Hip-hop wise, he overpowered him. Damn near stopped his career. But Ja Rule's still the same Ja Rule, man. That man still touring. You know what I mean? Man ain't stopped, bro. If you put catalog against catalog, Ja Rule would beat 50 Cent. He ain't got that many fucking hits, but Ja Rule and all this shit damn near certified diamond. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real, bro. You got to make this make sense. Diddy, Sean Carter, Curtis Jackson, all the same, fam. They all partaking in some crazy shit. Now, 50 is trying to make it look like he's cleaning it up. But look, bro, one party is no better than the other. And that's just the truth, fool. Boo-boo is a lot of shit behind the scenes about you. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real, fam. Will it ever come to the light? Who knows? But as much money as you getting right now, you got the power to stop it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got the power to stop it. But if anybody really does that research on Curtis Jackson, you might find out some things that'll change the way you feel about him. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. Drop it in the comments, man. Scores from the playground.
If they throw it, I'ma catch it to play the game like Tetris. I'm one of a kind rap, people tell me I'm equipped. I've been working 24 hours, summertime to winter. I ain't really at the chill, it gotta be about business.